Hello and welcome to 52 Lists. I'm Moorea Seal, the author of the 52 List series, and today on our first epic episode, we have the one, the only, Alison Faulkner. Wait, I need you to dance. I forgot. That is your special talent.
Well, if you hadn't given me a sound effect, I would have given myself my own. So thank you.
Beautiful. Let me just do your professional intro really quick.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Alison Faulkner is a branding and events expert, host of the podcast Awesome with Alison, a top 100 health and wellness podcast, consultant for Fortune 500 companies, writer, speaker, artist, self-proclaimed nonsense dancer, author, and CEO of Alison's Brand School, partnering with Microsoft and Alaska Airlines, among others. Alison is obsessed with her kids, husband, family, and friends, and I'm obsessed with her. Welcome to the table, Alison.
So excited. I just feel like people need to understand that we've actually only hung out in person like once, twice.
Yeah, once or twice. One time you came and hang out at my very first storefront.
I remember that very vividly.
After hours. Chilling.
And it was such a beautiful space.
Thank you.
And I just remember thinking like how cool you were and how good at life you were. And you just were so nice to me. You hung out with me. And I mean, I know it sounds like I have a low bar, but no, I don't. Like you were kind to me and I feel indebted. No, it was so cool. So I've just loved watching you just be awesome at being you for a long time. But I think it's awesome because we're immediately on the same page of nonsense and insanity. And so people would think like, oh, they talk all the time. It's like, no, we haven't talked in like 5 years, but it's just same page.
Yeah, we are both chaos monsters who sometimes know how to harness it and hopefully do something good with it.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love
right?
that.
That's you.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah.
We're similar spirits.
I love this I've been saying a lot lately, I'm a free agent of chaos because I don't have my office space. I don't have full-time employees anymore like I used to. And I'm just like feeling like free. Yeah. But I also really like chaos monsters. So I think we could.
They parallel each other. They are best friends. They skip and hold hands down the street.
Monster is maybe a little more accurate for me.
Yeah. So at the biggest point, if the capitalist world were declaring you were at your height, how big was your staff? Or how big was like the community of people, of volunteers, the whole shebang that you had going?
Like 4 full-time employees, but then I had like 15 to 20 like coaches, consultants, like people who I'd bring in staff to travel with and partner with for consulting for Alison's Brand School. I mean, yeah, it's always been in flux. So I never had like a huge team, but did have an office space for a long time. And you and I were kind of joking about this. I've had, a lot of time to reflect on this. I think you and I are very much a product of the era of we didn't know what we were building because there wasn't a model. There was no model, but yet there was also a little bit of this like unsaid model where it was like, oh, you're going to make it, okay, you're going to get this audience online. Well, what are you going to do with it now? Now you're going to be a boss and you're going to have an office space and you're going to have employees because you don't just want to be some billboard. That's my underlying term there.
Yeah.
So I very much early on was like, okay, I got this following. I blogged, I shared, I did DIYs. And then it was like, but I don't want to be a billboard. So I started doing events and coaching and all of these other things. But also you're an online personality, but also we're not here, just do whatever you want. I mean, there's a lot. So there's a lot of us who I think kind of went that whole, like, I've got a studio now, I've got employees now, I
built out a space. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like starting with, I don't know, we both grew up in religious cultures.
Yes.
There were expectations for us as humans who were born with boobies and vaginas. We were, raised to be good, sweet, nice, friendly, fun people. And also told but just don't go beyond this cap. And then what I think is so amazing about our community of bloggers and early on influencers of the early 2010s is that we were fighting against that message of how dare you hold us back? If we speak in the language of religiosity, we are all made in the image of God. Why can't we all rise up together? I am no longer religious anymore, but I still believe in that message of we're all equal. And so we all should rise up together. So I think we were all pushing that mold together. And because it was all of our first times doing that, of course, it got a little toxic and we maybe went a little too hard on ourselves.
And it got so messy. And I don't know if this is for you, but so I took a big break. I wrote my book at the end of 2020, and then my body shut down. I had actually truly a psychotic break. So took a break, had a psychotic break, a little bit each. People are like, that's so great. You took time. I'm like, was it terrible? She wasn't okay. So that happened. And in that time, in that space away, post 2020, post, the online world kind of doing its thing, coming back to, I have this book now, I have a message. I've always had a message. How do I want to show up? What do I want it to look like? What can I give in a sustainable, because that's the new word for me, right? Is what's sustainable? This churning isn't sustainable. And it's not kind, it's not compassionate. No. I don't want to model it, let alone do it.
Right.
Coming from that, realizing how many relationships, friendships I had that were just all tied together with the online world. It's pretty mind-blowing because so many relationships and friendships and things that I thought were I thought they were one way, but they had a lot of conditions on them. Because of the nature. And it's not because people are just terrible, but it's everybody approaches a relationship and a business relationship in a different way. You bring different expectations to the table.
Yep.
And I do feel like a place that you and I can sit is we can identify and relate to a 14-year-old and 15-year-old right now. And here's why I say that. Our realities were so tied to online and in person in a way that 14 or 15-year-olds, that is their realities right now. What's online reality? What's in-person reality? And it's in a way most adults or most parents, they can't relate to it because they have not lived with their actual identity, livelihood being tied into this online world. So it does put us in I think a really powerful, interesting place. It's kind of I feel like we're sitting in a where's this going to go next? I feel like we're very much in flux right now.
Yeah, it's a weird place because it's we're in a global, everything comes crashing down, trying to rebuild again. We're in a digital world of everything comes crashing down, trying to rebuild again. It's at a manic pace right now with TikTok. It is manic.
Yes, manic is the best word. And hey, it takes one to know one. That it is manic. That's what it is.
We know because that was what the existence we had to live in every single thing that we were building. We started with a blogging platform that was slow and we had a long story to tell. And then with photography, we need to add in photo. And then we need to do more in-person things. And then we need to do live events. And then we need to build physical spaces. And now we need to build a team. And it has to keep growing. That is mania. And we're at a weird cultural tipping point that I am so excited to see blow up. What is next?
Same.
What's next?
You know what's going to be next?
Sleeping.
Whatever you and I decide to do. Revolutionary.
People are just being real and raw and honest. And that's refreshing.
Yeah.
People who say no to things.
Yeah.
That's a big thing that I think you and I are both doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of maturity itself. When you're a 15-year-old, when you're a 20-something, when you're a person who's doing everything for the first time, that's what I look at my entire career as. It's just like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. It's madness. And we're now at a point, you and I have both paused. Great job. You did it. Like, how scary was that to pause?
I didn't know I was doing it till after everything had already hit the fan.
Yeah, but I'm glad you did.
But I did. Thank you.
It's such a terrifying thing to do when you're in it. Like I got divorced and closed my store in 2020, and it was a forced pause. Like I didn't want to pause.
Forced pause, yes.
She was spiraling. And it's not until afterwards you're like, damn, I really did need that. Did I lose a lot though? Yeah, sure. And maybe it was right.
Yeah. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wouldn't.
You needed to like find your humanness.
Yeah. And also, so I've been doing these one-on-one calls when I'm kind of like, what is it that I want to do? And I'm like, I wrote a book. I don't know. I just really like people. I'd like to talk to people. So I've been doing these one-on-one calls, and luckily people want to talk to me. So like I've got them scheduled. And today I noticed a theme in the people I was talking to, the very, similar age as us. And it's like, we spent all of this time building a beautiful life, and now we're being invited to learn how to live in the beautiful life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And whether, you could say like losing a business, employees, losing revenue, divorce, is that part of building a beautiful life? Yes. Mm-hmm. Because it's inviting you into your truth. It's inviting you into like your wholeness, your expansion as a human, on this planet. But it's like that, just how we can intellectualize it, right? We can know I have this and I have that, and I know this truth and I know that. I know that I don't want to move from shame, from force, from pushing, from striving. But then how do I want to move? Just because I know how I don't want to do it this time doesn't mean I know exactly what to do.
Yeah. That rings. Ding. Yeah. The first time I went to therapy in my 20s, my therapist said to me, I hear you saying everything you don't want to be and nothing that you do want to be. And that is a wild thing to wake up to realize. I've been living in opposition to things. I'm still not living from my authentic self. I'm not listening to my inner voice. I'm reacting towards everything.
Oh, yeah. That's why you're so wise.
You are my friend, and it's really nice reading your book.
Well, thank you.
You're so friend. It's like listening to my inner voice, being like, right, all right, yeah, exactly. You like tarot. I love tarot. I see your beautiful ancient hard tarot spread in the background.
I know. It's so funny because I organized. I've been, end of the year, I started just organizing. When the beautiful thing that happened when I stepped away from the internet, stepped into healing, was the inner artist in me that had just kind of gotten optimized out of the business.
Nice.
she back. And it's like all the craft supplies, all the sparkles, all the art. I'm going to be a painter. I'm going to be a hand letterer. You can't tell me boo. I will do it. Right. Because that reclaiming of self, that inner artist is so much that inner child. And so I was organizing all of these, all of the things that I've brought back into my life as part of this healing. And I lined all my decks, all my Oracle and Tarot decks up, because like I didn't have them all in one place. There's
look at my treasure trove, my pile.
Okay, yeah, she's searching. She's searching.
It's a cute thing to see, yourself growing up through all the things you've gathered. Okay, got it. But I feel like right now I was just doing some writing for my tarot deck and workbook, which will come out next year.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't
excited.
Wait to hear your interpretation and like your insight. I'm just so excited.
You're gonna love it, because I speak a lot to mental health and try to tie in a lot with mental health and the history of all religions, how everything is kind of intertwined. But something that I was writing about today was the Hanged Man. And in this moment, I'm thinking about like, yeah, we have been since 2020, we have been the Hanged Man. We have been, we've learned a lot. We've grown up through the first cards of the major arcana. We've been we were in the Fool stage for a long time.
Still there.
For a long time, yeah. And it's good to have that inner Fool to keep it spicy, but being at the point of the Hanged Man means that you've just like been through the Wheel of Fortune, you've been through the tumultuous stuff, and you're pausing and you're looking at everything that you've experienced in your life, but from a completely new perspective. I kind of like to think of it as you're in the same room, and the room has always been lit from the ceiling with bright yellow light, and suddenly now it's like lit from the bottom with blue light, and everything's still the same, but you see shadows in a different way. You see behind things that you never saw behind. Everything's
love that.
from a different perspective. And that's what it feels like you're at, I'm at, and culturally we are at. We're kind of freaked out, and that, okay, we're still here, but everything's the same and different. And we need to go through this internal death and then move into temperance, so that we can hone all of that, the stuff that is in our room. All of your decks are there for a purpose, but you need to use them in a new way and with a new perspective. And that's such an exciting and fruitful place to be, but it's also scary in a new way, because we're used to being foolish and not knowing what we're doing next, and everything's new. Now it's like, nothing is new. I know too much. How do I look at it in a new way?
Is that what number is the Hanged Man? Is he 10?
I
don't remember.
What is it? Is it 12?
I don't think it's 10, but because I've been thinking about the cycle, but I love how you're talking about that, because when you think about like the Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant, like the Magician, the Fool, those are like in the first 6, and they're very like action achievement oriented, momentum building.
Look at me. Look what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I haven't thought about it that way. So like you're literally blowing my mind with that. The Hanged Man, I mean, I've known he's the pause, but truly like the place, and and for those, I'm sure your people are familiar, but with like the major journey of the soul, the major arcana is what we're talking about, is that pause. I love you talking about the light source essentially changing. Because I've also, like I said, I've been taking art classes online. I'm like beginner artist. I'm like, where's my light source? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I watch, well, when we get into your 52 list, something on there that makes me really happy is watching Ink Master. And
oh yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love literally all reality TV, especially if they're making something. I just like,
yes,
it's so tactile. So
you know why I think not to generalize, but I think one reason, because I like friendly competition based reality mostly. So I love Drag Race or like Project Runway, where it's like you have a really beautiful talent, Glow Up, the makeup show, right? You have this beautiful talent. I don't love like, and no shade or shame, because there's a place for it, but like Real Housewives, it's more stressful for me.
Yeah.
But they talk about the light source so much, like, well, where's your light source coming from? Where's your light source coming from? And it informing all of the decisions. But with the reality TV, it's I like to psychoanalyze everybody. I like to try to guess who's going to win alone based on their mental mindset, like,
yeah, you're like, who's going to tough this out?
I know.
Who's done the emotional work? Who's been to therapy? Can you handle this?
That's what it is.
Always.
He's got unresolved trauma. He can't sit alone for 2 weeks. He's out. He taps out, right? Like,
And you have to have been through that first half of the major arcana to be able to pause in that hangman state and be like, I see you.
I
You're
love
still at the
that.
pool. You're still acting out mommy issues with the Empress. The Emperor is your daddy. Okay,
Yeah.
the magician. Now you're like, oh, you're like, woo, cool, crazy, performer. Like you're in that state right now of like, I see what's going on. It doesn't mean I want to be in your place. I do not. I have been there. I can only judge because I can be judged as well. But I just need to go back and observe.
But that's what I think it's cool, because that's what like tarot and essentially what we're talking about reality TV is. They're just giving us archetypes.
Yeah.
And those archetypes and Jungian psychoanalysis, which I love Carl Jung, this theory of I'm not the villain and I'm not the hero. I'm the villain. I'm the hero. I'm the sidekick. I'm the fool. I'm the empress. I'm the hanged man. I'm all of it.
Yep.
Right. And that's what I think can be, if we use it as the tool that it is, to invite us into that self-reflection rather than to be in a place of judgment, which is separation, right? Where it's like there's observing and then connecting, and then there's judging, which is like we're just gonna separate these things. So
I'm different. So
we're really we watch. So what we're saying is we watch reality TV in a really enlightened, spiritual way.
You know, we're just up on a pedestal. We're above this, and we see everything.
Yeah, that's it.
I never do any of that stuff anymore. Never.
Yeah, me neither.
I would never. No. I'm so bad at that. Well, that's also something that I love about your book. Like so
you're so nice that you read it. You read that so fast. Thank you. I really didn't expect
so welcome.
You have to, but thank you.
I am a good interviewer.
Yeah, you are.
And a friend. I am real, you guys. Okay, but it's How to Silence Your Inner Critic and Step into Your Greatness. This has just been like, I don't know, it's been so sweet to listen to as well. I've read some and I've also listened to some because it's fun to hear in your voice. But it's just like, yeah, it's wild. Like I'm literally listening to a friend talk so honestly about her life experiences and this journey that, you know, in a weird way, by being these like mini public figures, we have become little archetypes of the experiences of what women our age have gone through, the expectations that we felt like we had to live up to, the breakdowns, and where we go next, or figuring out all of our coping skills, the different mechanisms through which we can just get through life now that we've woken up to the reality of it all. Like you really explored that throughout the book. And one of the parts I think that like spoke the most to me was when you talk about having panic attacks essentially for 6 months straight. And
that was when I went to your store. That was that period of time. That was when I went on that tour with Microsoft. I think that's why our time together stands out so much. It was like this grounding, like loving break in between me just having panic attack after panic attack. So thank you for that, because that was really right in the middle of that time.
Yeah. I parallel that. That was an insane time of my life as well. Like we were both scrappy. And I think that's also something that I think we were probably both raised to be. Like, I can make do. I can figure out how to transform this trash into treasure. I love to watch those home makeover shows where they just scrap things together and made it beautiful. That was like our identity. That's what we culturally were taught to be and do, and something to be proud of, something to find kind of a false sense of pride in.
Yeah.
And I had my own kind of breaking point in 2017, right before I wrote 52 Lists for Calm, where I was having severe panic attacks day long, to the point where I was just in bed for a few weeks. I couldn't go into my store. I couldn't run my staff. I just was completely paralyzed. How, like, do you feel like that was probably one of your biggest breaking points? But I don't know, what was also interesting to hear from you that I related to is you were like, this is just normal. Like, this is just how I have to live, is in a constant state of panic. Like, why would I change when this is just my norm? I think I was kind of doing the same. Like, after that 2-week period of panic attacks, I went back to the same lifestyle, the same pressures.
Well, and we got praised for it nonstop, like put on a pedestal and praised to the point where you're like, I must just be experiencing this incorrectly because the results are right. I'm wrong. That's what I personally did.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that you talk about 2017, because that period of about 6 months having so many anxiety attacks, that was probably 2014, 15, you know, kind of whenever I was there. And then at the end of 2017, so at the beginning of that year, that is when I stopped doing all these dance parties that were very draining, even though everybody wanted me to keep doing them. I stopped doing any sort of like influencer marketing. I was only going to make money selling courses and products. I didn't want to do any ads or anything like that. I started my Alison's brand school. I started my podcast. And then at the end of that year, it's not funny, but it's only funny because I'm about to say I got hit by a car when I was running. That's in the book too. So it's like, okay, I had all these anxiety attacks. Then what I did is I changed my thoughts to change my life. And I just micromanaged all of my thoughts and micromanaged.
I did it.
And I feel like that's kind of like the first step in your self-healing is you take your same way of being, which essentially is to shame and achieve and push, and do that with your healing. Then you realize shaming myself into healing,
that doesn't work either.
And so when I got hit, so I was on a run, it was December, it was cold, it was Christmas, and I got hit, broken ribs, broken vertebrae. Did I slow down after that? Better, let's say I slowed down more than I did after all the anxiety attacks, right? But because of what happened at the end of 2017, and then the time it took to heal from that, which was years, it's interesting because as I took a break more recently and I was away, people are like, oh yeah, you got hit by a car. And I was like, that was actually 5 years ago.
Yes, that did happen, but it doesn't happen every time I take a break.
And it's interesting because it just shows how much people want like a physical, they need to have some sort of thing in their mind to be like, oh, that's why it happened.
Yeah, you can only stop if the world forces you to stop.
Or you get hit by a car.
Physically breaking.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, my bladder and internal organs stopped working. I had a completely dysregulated nervous system. I was unable to get out of bed for months, really. People are like, oh, from being hit by a car. And I'm like, no, please do listen. It is from pushing myself the whole time. Like,
we're trying to live up to the expectations that I've been building based on what a capitalist society says I have to be
patriarchal,
good.
Capitalist. And, I tend to be big feminine energy with big masculine energy.
Yeah.
And so there's a part of that, shaming the feminine without realizing it in order to lean into that, what you and I were laughing about before, boss babe, where it's like, oh, okay, well, we're like, we can only be successful in the way that it looks masculine, but we are seeing, and not in gender, right? But in terms of energy, and we are seeing.
Because culture will respect that.
Culture
won't respect me if I'm giggling.
Oh, they don't, and they don't respect me in my flamboyant clothing.
No, I'm sorry, color.
They still don't, by the way. Like, I mean, I'm working on it, but like, it's still, people will think that my book is for women. And I'm like, why? Do I speak just to women? Is there any gender? Do I use pronouns? I've never used gender specific I'm ahead of the curve. I never used gender specific pronouns because I didn't like being put into those boxes.
Yeah.
But yet that has been the model of success. So we were emulating it, not even aware that we were pushing down certain parts and amplifying certain parts. So I think that's also been part of what's confusing, because that very masculine energy, which is like, you know, the branches of the tree reaching, growing, but neglecting the roots, which is more of that, you know, Pachamama, Mother Earth energy. So kind of learning how to, I don't know, feel it all, be it all, right?
It's a special space to step into. And I think also a part of that, like moving on from the hanged man, being like, oh, I am all, I am everything. I am not just the empress. I am not just the emperor. I hold all these identities. I hold all of these past selves, and I take them with me. And it is for the world's benefit that I have multiplicity.
Yeah. So here, I'm going to ask you a question. I don't know where you want to go, but now that I have you here, I'm like, well, can Moorea just tell me what to do with my life? No, it's fine. I won't listen. No, I will. So I love this idea though, like in this hanged man energy. And I did a 2023 reading for myself. And it was like card of the year, and it was freaking reverse chariot. And I was just like, of course you're going to be a stupid chariot. But
so fast, but backwards.
Yeah, but backwards. But also, so I find myself in this position. It's given me a lot of good insight as to like kind of what I'm feeling right now, which is a little bit like what I talked about, where I'm like, I know that I don't want to continue the way that I was. I do know that I have value, not in terms of like I create value with money, but like I have wisdom and lived experience and a lot of empathy and compassion that I would love to share. I want to do it in a kind and compassionate way. And I do think there's a little bit of me that died, definitely that died, which is that like, let's go start another thing. So where I'm like, I could do anything. I've been thinking about starting a daily email, like just because I want to give in that way that's not on social media. I've been thinking about, I can do an in-person event. I can throw a 700-person dance party. I can literally do anything, right?
Yeah. It's like, it's a beautiful space of abundance to be sitting in, and also you can drown in it at the same time.
Yeah.
So like, which rock do I grab onto, which floating device it is?
Yes. And especially it was such a learned to, you know, indirectly answer your question, like what helped me pause. And I'm like, well, part of it was like getting hit by a car slowed me down. And then when the big stuff came up, this like a lot of soul stuff came up, I was able to recognize it. I was able to realize like flashbacks, what flashbacks were with trauma. It really helped me recognize trauma that needed healing because I got hit by a car. I knew what flashbacks were. And because I knew what flashbacks were, I was like, oh, and that's real. And it's not cute. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
Right? But really that's so like, I'm like, I wouldn't take any of it back, like in order to heal. But there is a little bit, and I think this is kind of the conundrum of midlife, where you're like, I don't have that fool's optimism, naivety, or even that naivety, or even the like, yeah, I know I got the book deal. That was the dream. I got the dream. The dream was the book deal. I wrote the book. Really proud of the book.
And then what is my life now? Just marketing?
I need a new dream.
Yeah.
Marketing the book does not get me out of bed.
No.
Boring.
No. Yeah. There have been points, my books have done amazingly well, but also I was hustling so hard.
I don't even know how you did that. You're a genius.
I wasn't there. I was writing these things as coping mechanisms for my stress. And they were doing so well because we were all collectively stressed.
Yeah.
And the journal that you filled out, 52 Lists for Happiness, that hit a year after it came out. Like it hit number 50 on all of Amazon books.
Wow.
Then a year later, it hit number 2 out of all books in 2017. The year that I also was at my lowest. So it's like I was getting that I wasn't needing to market my books, but that's because I was drowning in all of the other stuff I was trying to hold up, and I can be successful and I can do all the things at the same time. I have promised myself, I will never go back to working as hard as I worked at that point in life because I was killing myself.
Yeah.
I was going to the ER being like, I don't know what's wrong. And they can't figure it out. Why is my whole body breaking out in some sort of hives or thing that they can't diagnose? Why is it that like my internal organs are shutting down? Why do I have precancerous polyps in my intestines? All of these things were a part of hustle culture, and I will not go back.
Yes.
I will not. And also, I'm at a grounded state now where I'm alive and I am getting out of bed in the morning. But what do I do? What's the next thing?
Yes, I'm well enough to get out of bed, and I'm well enough.
Okay.
I'm able to have conversations. I call them my power hours I've been doing, and they've been so helpful because I can talk to people and not carry it the rest of the day. It's crazy. It's literally a mind-blowing phenomenon to not have attach any identity or value or meaning. They paid me. I did it as affordable as possible. My ego is like, you could make 7 times this, and you have for the same thing. And I'm like, but I don't care.
None of this matters.
What
matters is the conversation.
And then the fact that I'm able to do it and feel good after, it's like so crazy awesome. But I do think there's like a part of me, and maybe you relate to this as well, as we talked about manic and mania, where I'm like, but I also do have quite a bit of energy, and I like having a lot of projects. So it's like finding that balance of a compassionate amount, a stimulating amount of projects, the brass tacks of I do operate a business, so to speak, even though it changes and is dynamic. I have a virtual employee, and she's so helpful and awesome. But yeah, like, what's it all about? Like,
can you tell me the meaning of life, please? Hello, Moorea. Could you please? So which card is the one that just says like, and here's your purpose?
Yeah, I know. Oh, wait, there's no card for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we grew up also with our parents, the boomer generations, those lucky little bitches. They grew up in the one period of all of history where they were just kind of taken care of. It worked out for their one group, not before, not after.
Yeah.
So they gave us these narratives of like, you'll find a job, and then you do the job, and then you retire, and then you go to sleep. Like, that's their existence. Congrats. I'm so happy for you. But we are not of that generation. We're the scrappy ones. We're like, I want to make that work, and I'll figure that out, and I'll change that thing, and I'll do the thing. So we don't have one life purpose. We have so many, and we have to figure it out for ourselves, and that's exhausting.
Yeah.
But it also is powerful. It means that we are the ones in control of our own narrative. We're the ones who are in control of our own purpose. And it's scary as shit. It is a lot to have to ever evolve in figuring out what your purpose is. So yeah, you have just written a book. You did the thing.
Yeah.
Now what?
Well, this is my game plan. Here's the game plan.
Got it.
The game plan is, how do I want to feel versus like what, like, it's just value driven propulsion system. So like the propulsion system used to be achievement, results. That's what propelled me. That's what pushed me. That's what gave the motivation. And so I'm just trying this out. I'll keep everybody posted. But what I'm essentially experimenting with now is different propulsion systems. Like what are like being in flow and being in ease. Yes, but there also is this balance of structure. So it's like this scaffolding that for me, I find there's like a little bit of scaffolding and then the flow is even more free. So trying to get those pieces of scaffolding in place. So there's like a loose structure to live and breathe within so that it doesn't feel so chaotic, like a chaos monster. But I also, if I try to make it too rigid, I lose it.
And you turn into a chaos monster.
I rebel so hard and I turn into like this teenager who's like, like
Me too. If I'm very good at organizing. I literally am a master list maker. I've created planners. I've done the whole thing.
Professional.
But also I can get so obsessive that I then feel like I've created my own like box of hell where everything is so planned that I'm like, I need to tear everything down and then just run through a field naked. I can't, like, it's woo, she's a Gemini. Okay, here we go. Like,
are you a Gemini?
I am a Gemini.
I'm so, I don't know if this will surprise you. I'm very Scorpio. My husband's a Gemini.
Oh yeah. My ex-husband is a Scorpio. I'm a Gemini. I have a lot of Scorpios in my life because I love, I feed off of that like
intensity. It's the intensity, man.
We're all scheming. We are the schemers. We are the schemers, and we're always coming up with new ideas, and we can't not. That's a part of who we are.
Yes.
But also, like, I think what I have kind of learned in the last, like the word that I kind of always go back to now as of like 2021, after the intensity of 2020, and then 2021 was like, can we pull ourselves up from the ashes? Is self-regulation. I am thinking about like, that is my goal now, period. Is how do I self-regulate? Because I accept fully that I am a rebel. I want to fuck shit up. It's fun. It's interesting. It's spicy. You're a Scorpio. You're calculating with your hand bits, but then your tail is like, but also
I'm a maniacal overlord. I really am. I'm like, no, there's no plan. I don't have a plan. Tell me what to do. And I'm like, but I mean both. I do mean it.
Yeah. And at our roots, like, we are, thank freaking goodness, we are kind-hearted people who like, I don't know, we are, like, we're able to look at corruption and be like, and this is what my evil is for, is to take corruption down. I don't want to be a part of creating it. I want to take it down. I want to equalize. I want to provide. I see that in both of us. We are both like provider mentality.
I really like that, because that gives me like a
like we need that fire. I need that fire. Otherwise,
burn it.
Yeah. I don't want to be sedated. I want to be regulated, which means I need to have some fire in my life. I need some fire. I need to burn some things down. I also need grounding. I also need the smoothness, the flow of water. I also need the experimentation in the magical realm of air. I need all those four to feel like each one is fueled. I can't just be in a lazy river. It's not my energy.
Yeah.
I need to blow some shit up. So
I like that. Let's burn shit. Let's blow shit up. That's good. That makes me happy, because truly, like, being driven from the achievement, which isn't evil in and of itself. Achieving stuff feels good. It's validating. It's fine, but it just doesn't do it for me anymore.
Yep.
It just doesn't do it for me anymore.
Yeah, I am not, I don't want to be ego driven. I've had my ego deaths, and I'm like, I'm not.
I know. Every time I say that I'm like, well, that ego died. And I'm just like, I have no more ego to die. It's shocking. I still find it, but it's there.
It pops up. It's, again, Scorpios and Geminis. she'll still shoot up there, and I'll be like, all right, okay, stop. No.
Yeah, but I think I do like using, I really identify with Ursula, and I really do like using that octopus villain energy. She's a sea witch,
Mhm.
right? It won't cost much, just your voice, but in all of the best ways of Ursula. Just tearing down corruption rather than tearing down innocent little mermaids,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
like that. I
Yeah.
feel really good about that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. Problem solved. I'll see you
Cool.
later.
Yeah. I like the Robin Hood. I like the Ursula. I think there are so many different archetypes of people who use, it's so important to be honest with the things that fuel you. I am such an introvert. But I also love people. I love people and I love chatting with people. I'm going to be so anxious until I finally chat with someone, and then I'm so excited and I'm going to go be quiet. Like I have volatile energy in that way. And if I can figure out how to use it for my benefit and for the benefit of others without draining myself, again, regulation, just like making sure that I have many cups and all of my cups are full. If I keep my eye on that table of cups, then I feel really good. And that's what I want every day to feel like for me.
That's beautiful.
I miss having like one big, huge dream to shoot for so much. That can be a fun thing, but it also can create such heavy, dark pits of sadness.
Yeah.
I now just am like, okay, I have 24 hours in this day. What are just some different little cups that I want filled, and how can I look at all of them and feel so proud of myself that I filled them? I want to light a little fire over here. I want to douse a little water over there. I want to plug that in to make sure that she's not totally drained.
Yeah, I was like, wait, this is working perfectly, where I was like, how is this not plugged in? There we go.
Ding, a ding. Exactly. How do I create those little ding, 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 ding throughout my day, so that at the end of the day, I look at my list of things and I'm like, wow, I am satiated.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful. And
we're hungry beings.
Yeah, that's what I just like had to land on. And I think that's also part of the, that's one reason why I love the archetypes so much, is like, I really, really love the concept of unconditional love. And because especially with healing, like you can't heal without unconditional love. And what I mean by unconditional love in this sense is, like, when you go to a service provider, like I went to this chiropractor and she was great. And after a few sessions, she was kind of like, well, you need to get over this thing. And I was kind of like, well, I just found out about it in my head like 3 weeks ago. And I don't actually, because I was in a place where I was like, I don't agree with you. Normally I would have been like, oh my gosh, I should be over this. I shouldn't feel bad about this horrible trauma, right?
Shame on me for having shame.
Shame on me. And I was able to see that with her. I was like, a service provider who has shame around pain, I can't do service providers that are going to put their shame around pain on me in this time of healing, right? And so then I want to go out and provide any help healing that I can. That's for me, like that, the kind of the barometer check-in is like, where am I at with my unconditional love? Like, how conditional is my love for myself? Oh, it's pretty conditional because I'm pretty mad about the next size of pants and the next size and the next size, right? Like, or whatever the condition, whether it's body, whether it's money, whether it's friendships, whatever those conditions are that I'm valuing myself at, to be able to show up for myself with that unconditional love. It's so motivating, because when you are around people who have that, you just feel it. You just feel it. And so not like I just, expect everyone around me to have unconditional love, but like if that's something that I can put into the world, but it really does start with me providing it to myself. So I I love your idea with, especially with the four, suits of the tarot as a very organized way to check it rather than abstract, right? I'm good at abstract, but that's a good practical application. I love that. Do you want to talk about your list?
Speaking of organized.
I know, I was like, I had so much fun doing my list. I'm dedicated. I'm gonna do it.
Yes.
I really am. I'm very excited.
Well, I want to hear what is on your list. Number 1 from the 52 list for happiness. List what makes you happy right meow.
Okay, so this was so perfect because that is really like the space I'm in right now. Is I'm like, what does make me happy? Like, this was such a good question.
Now.
Right this now, and I even put on there exercise and then crossed it out because exercise has always made me happy, and I'm in this weird place where it doesn't right now, and I just
be honest with it.
It's a whole thing, and I wrote exercise and then I crossed it out because you said right now. So I'm
like now. Yeah.
Okay, do you want me to just
read it off?
Okay,
yep.
I'll read it off. Making people dinner.
Oh,
I really love making people soup and bringing it to them. It's like my favorite.
Oh, I love that.
Because I'm gonna sound 300 years old right now.
No.
Embroidery.
Mm-hmm.
Helping people see themselves in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
Color. Beads. I do love beads. I love them. Flowers. Knowing where everything is. Organized stewardship. So I like this idea. It's like I'm a steward of these belongings and I like to hold responsibility for them. I put ink master. It's making me happy.
Yeah.
Romance fantasy novels. My nails. Having space to be available. My cats. Straightforward relationships. Tarot. Painting. The sun. Pretty girl energy. It's this song that I really like right now. It's Pretty Girl Era. It's like, this is my pretty girl era. I just really like the energy of it. Being in my body, feeling grounded, knowing what my job is and doing it, magic, practical magic, Greek mythology, and what did I say that I can't read what that one says? Something about cathartic. Like, I don't know what that says.
You just went loose.
I went really loose. I'm really loose.
She went fully limp after being like,
wow. That is hysterical.
I feel good. I feel good here.
Yeah.
I love that.
What I was trying to write is like, I like when I can like when you and I both were just like, oh, let's burn shit. Like when I can help somebody into that space or join somebody in that space, I love it. Like, check, done.
It's a thrill. It feels like it feels productive. Yeah. I think that's like a powerful thing growing up for me. Again, growing up in religious culture was like, I tried to never be angry growing up because I thought anger is bad.
Yeah, can't be mad. Ew.
Mad because that makes me bad. Mm-hmm. And that means I hurt people, and I never want to hurt anybody. I am a sweet, tender person. Also, you need the fuel and the fire of anger sometimes. You need it to propel you through different situations. And it's such a beautiful thing to, I think being at the point of Hanged Man, to embrace every emotion and to understand whatever emotion you're experiencing, even anxiety, even sadness, even fear, even anger, all of it has a purpose within you. It is a balance. It's a yin and yang to other emotions. They all need to be together. And to deny one is to deny the entire self. You need it all in all of your complexities, just like you need all of those things that bring you joy. You need the balance of ink master and beads. Does it make sense? No, but that's what makes you so magical and so unique. Because like, how fun is it? It's like such a fun thing to witness someone in their joy about a very specific thing you've never thought about.
That is one of my favorite things.
It's so fun. I had a friend in high school who literally had the worst singing voice in the world, but I'd beg her to scream, sing country music in the car because I just loved witnessing her like passion, even though it was terrible.
Yeah.
Sound was terrible, but she was so happy. And that's such a fun thing to show up to.
I love that. I think, we were talking about like being essentially kind of like, did you watch the new, like, it's Glass Onion, the new like they have that whole disruptor speech where I keep thinking of that word disruptor and then like mocking it because of the movie, but like but this idea of essentially disrupting, bringing down corruption or bringing healing, right? But I lost my train of thought with the Glass Onion reference. I took myself off the road.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with all of that, it's like it's essential that there be a person who's obsessed with beads in the world of disruptors. It's essential that there are all these individuals with all these specific weird little passions.
Well, and that's the thing that's so cool, is it can sound, and I'm saying this for myself essentially to remind myself mostly, but hopefully it's helpful, that it doesn't have to be as exhausting as like taking a sledgehammer and like walking up, and like it doesn't have to be sledgehammer deconstruction. It can, you showing up excited about the Hanged Man, which is like an example of a very specific thing to be excited about. I also am very excited about the Hanged Man. But even just the example or the model of somebody living with passion is such a good disruptor.
Yes.
Just living in that true passion and that unconditional acceptance of self, of I can be mad, I can be sad, I can be a bitch, and I can be a delight, and I get to be it all, right?
I want all of that. By you being all of those selves, it gives validation for someone else to be all of themselves.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a good reminder for me, really, to be like, that's enough. Like that can be the plan. Like that is a really good plan. Like that is enough of a plan for me, right? Personally, maybe other people need more, but that's about all I need.
This makes me excited for you to hopefully fill out more lists from the journal, but even that, like,
I'm in.
I think it's wild to just see stuff on a page, to see the variety of what makes you happy right now, to then realize like, oh my, again, in this hangman state, we have collected so much. So to get it all out on paper and to see it all there then does make us realize that instead of worrying about our lives being full enough, we can literally look down and be like, oh, I'm so full.
Yeah.
So much.
I love that, because I think, we're coming at it from slightly different ways, but the similar intention. It's like the intention of the book is You're Already Awesome is to shift. There's 12 shifts in the book, right? Is to move you out of that achievement, results oriented way of being. And you just come back to, I'm good. And I'm good. And these 10 people actually think I'm horrible and hate me. Still good, right? Like, still good. I'm already awesome. And that's what I really love about your list. And I feel like it's a similar thing, where you're just being invited into the present, to what is.
Yeah.
And so I'm super excited to like I told you, I'm all in and I'm very intense. So if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Damn it. Like,
me too. Scorpios and Geminis unite.
Yes.
These are a great pair, just like us.
They go together really well. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Green and orange, complementary. What? Contrast? What?
Oh, wow, branding. Well, I feel like this is a great place to end. It has been such a joy to chat with you. It is, we are similar spirits. We've probably been called many things, from a manic pixie dream girl to an empath, to extra spicy, to colorful, to, from the nicest words to the not so nice words. We've been it all.
I love how you just don't care about what anybody thinks.
Like, oh,
and yes. And also, what do you think? What do you mean by that? What do you think?
I care about everything. I actually care about everything, but I'm trying to not care about anything. That's actually who I am. but I'll keep dancing. Well, it's a joy to chat with you. I'm so happy we got to hang. It feels like we're just picking back up the last time we hung out in my old storefront. So like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And I don't know, I'm just so happy you're in my orbit, and
Thank you.
let's keep being pals.
KIT, honored.
Congrats on your book.
Thank you. Official ending, unofficial ending. Unofficial ending. Seriously, this is so great. Like, it's so
you.
I really have been thinking about you because I know how successful your book lists are and your books. And I like put the book out, and this is what I did not realize. I mean, I did, but I wasn't in a headspace. It's like, I really believed if I wrote the book inspired, it's very channeled, it flowed, 90,000 words in like a month, just right?
Do it.
Yeah. That then God was just going to take care of all of the marketing, and the fact that I hadn't been online, and the fact that this whole community of people that I thought I'd been building up for a decade actually didn't care when I wasn't around. Just like little things like that. And so just a little bit of a space where I'm like, I thought we had an agreement here. Like
I do work, it does well. We agree?
Yeah, we agreed. And I'm just a little confused on the agreement, right? So people are like, well, how's the book doing? I don't know. I actually couldn't tell you.
The world of authorship is so...
It is like... I don't even...
ethers.
What do you think sells a book? What do you think sells a book? What sells a book? I don't know. I don't know. All we can do is just make something that we genuinely love. Like that was my agreement to myself with my first journal, is I was like, this is a tiny little deal with a little local publisher. This might be my only thing I ever make. So I'm just going to put my whole heart into this thing. And we'll see what happens. And like life, things happen. Yeah. You're out here. Yeah. You're here. She did it.
Being here, by showing up as yourself, you are marketing your work. This is where you and I...
That's the only way I want to do it. That's the only way we'll do it, right? Yeah. I
just want to be myself.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
I made another list inspired by your list where I just had a minute between calls, and I wrote this list where I said, feel like I should do, and then I want to do. And on the feel like I should do, it was sell my book, do my podcast, and sell my Awesome On Demand. It's like an audio thing. And then I was like, what I want to do is host craft nights. So I think that's actually...
Yep. This is where personal narrative and specific words are so important. There's lots of things we should do, but without hosting that craft night, you will not have the fire to do the stuff you should do.
So true.
Prioritize your want.
Yeah.
So that way your little spicy Scorpio-ness can feel ignited. And then then you just have the energy to do the stuff that you're supposed to do.
Thank you. I've been really mad at some Sagittariuses who did me really dirty. I call them my dirty little Sages. They're just dirty little Sag. But my daughter's also a dirty little Sag. And I've been trying to focus on that energy. And it's interesting because that's very fire energy.
That's my rising sign. It's I'm going to make something and I'm going to drop it and I'm going to run away.
Yeah. You're just so great. I love you so much.
I love you too.
When I'm an organized human, I will invite you on my podcast. So I will keep you posted. Come on mine. Thank you for including me. And I'm on your team. Honestly, anything you need, anytime.
Likewise.
Just hit me up. Hit me up.
Likewise. Sure. We have been through it.
We're
still going.
Our timelines are pretty crazy.
We're still.
Tell me, don't you have a new love?
I do, and I moved in with her.
Tell me her name.
Her name is Vic, and I love her so much.
Vic?
My sweet honey. My type is like, no matter the gender, I am pansexual, apparently. It took me a long time to figure out. But as long as...
Labels are hard.
Yeah, it's
labels.
I just know that the type of people I'm attracted to are like grandpas at heart. Just she's a grandpa at heart. She made her quilts. She's very masculine looking, but she is the tenderest honey, my little tender honey on the inside.
So happy for you. When you posted that you had like I just was like so happy. I love when people find their person. I'm so happy for you.
It's a journey, and I made it. And
You
we're
did
gonna
it.
get a dog this week.
Yeah, you are.
We're doing it. We moved in together. Gonna get a doggy. Wholesome stuff, everybody.
Wholesome, real wholesome. Oh, okay. I love your guts. Thank you so much for having me. And then
Thank you so much.
on all things life. Thank you for being you.
Your treasure.
Your
All
treasure.
right.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.